Hey everybody, today I have a little review video on these Fuumuui. I never can pronounce that right, I think. On these travel brushes from Fuumuui, and you will find a link to them in the video description. And I think there also will be a discount code, so check that out. We will have a look at them and I will try them today. These are travel brushes, so I'm not going out today with them, but I think the size and also the packaging is really neat to take them on holidays, and I always take my watercolors with me, so this is something I really like using. And you get 6 brushes. You have on every end you have a brush, and you can read here that which brush is inside. So this says it's a 6 round brush. This says it's a 4 cat's tongue, and we have a 1/4 flat brush, then a 1 detail brush, and we have a 10 round and a 4 dagger brush. So 2 round brushes and the others are special sizes. Let's start with the round ones, and you just open them like this. And I will just have to activate them. It's important not to bend them when they are hard. When you get them new, it's important to wash them out, because I think they add some kind of gum arabic to it, so it sticks together and you don't want to break that. Just put it into water. I'm just using any kind of color from my palette here to try the brushes. I personally am not a typical watercolor artist. I'm a mixed media artist, and I often use watercolors and brushes not in a, I would say, very sensible way. I do not take care a lot, and I also don't mind if the brush tip is not perfect, but this one here is really good. I think if I compare this to my brushes that I have, that should be one of the best ones. Really nice. I really like it. I also don't mind the size. Often I like to work a bit looser, to just and then just grab a brush towards the end and play with it. I think they are big enough to do that, so that's not a problem that they are small. And it's perfect for traveling because you don't have big stuff to carry around. Let's have a look at the other round one. I think that's the round brush. Yeah, that's the one in the size 4. I'm personally usually only working with the round brushes or the normal flat brushes. Yeah, quite nice. They are nice. These are synthetic brushes, so don't worry about them being vegan. They are. Yeah. I'm also someone who not often uses a small brush, but for today I plan to color in some stamped images with these brushes, and therefore these are quite nice to have in a smaller size. Let's just have a look at the next size. That's a bit difficult to just, if you want to unscrew this side and this is not close enough, then it's a bit hard to get that opened. that's the cat tongue brush. Also nice to make these kind of shapes. Yeah, I don't have another one of these, I think. It's my only one. The brushes are very even. They are not scribbly. I really like them. I think the quality looks good to me. I think these are really good for watercolor artists that use a lot of different kinds of brushes. I usually am too lazy to pull out tons of different brushes. That's a dagger brush. Interesting. That is an interesting shape. I think it might be even more perfect for leaves than the normal round brush. Let's have a look. I've never worked with this one, with a dagger brush. Yeah, that might be interesting to create leaf shapes. Maybe we have to load it a bit better with color. It's really nice. You can make really small lines with this one for really fine details. But you could also get a really big brush stroke with it. This one was on the opposite of the round 10, and then we have one more brush left. This one has a flat brush. It's a small flat brush. Yeah, a normal. Oh, it lost one hair here. First hair it has lost. I think it does not, they do not take a lot amount of water, but I also have to say that I'm not into watercolor brushes and I don't know what is possible with these sizes. Yeah, so I think it's a nice variation. I probably would not use that on location because I would just be too lazy to open it. Of course, you could open them like this and then use them both. You might get some messy fingers with that because it's so small, and when you hold it, your fingers might get messy. And that's a really small round brush for the really small details. I think that travel brush set might be a good idea as a Christmas gift for artists also. So maybe that's something you would not buy for yourself, but you might be happy as an artist to get that gifted. Yeah. Now let's work with these a little bit more. I'm going to stamp some images for greeting card, and I will color those in with these brushes. I'm using Versafine Clair ink, which is a permanent ink once dry, so you can go over with watercolors without smearing it. And I'm using that watercolor pad here. It's a student grade watercolor pad from my local art supply store. I hope stamping will turn out good because that paper has a texture, and then stamping is sometimes a bit difficult, but usually with this ink it works out quite nice. That, by the way, is our Sketchy Flowers #3 stamp set. Really lovely flowers, especially for card making. Of course, they are also nice in your art journal. I plan to use them on a birthday card. The set also comes with some birthday wishes and some greetings. I love coloring in these kind of flowers very loosely because I'm not good at coloring in. I'm searching for the big round brush. This is this one. I'm going to start with this one, and I will keep it simple. I will just use some pinks here. I'm using watercolors from Mijello today because they are very bold and bright, and that's nice to color in flowers, I would say. And as I said, I'm keeping that very loose. I don't mind if I paint outside the lines sometimes, and I also try to leave some white spots so it stays a bit more loose. And I'm adding a bit of yellow in just to bring in some other color. I really like that. As I said, I'm keeping it simple, and I try to not fill in the whole image completely. If you leave some white areas here and there, just some tiny white spots, it will look just more dimensional. And you can see that I'm using that big brush, and it has such a nice fine tip that it's really easy to color in details. I think for the leaves, I'm going to switch to the smaller round. It's a bit hard to read what's on the brushes. That's a bit difficult to find because that's the 6 round. I don't want that. I want this one. Yeah. Maybe you should mark the caps with a washi tape just so you know more quickly where you can find which size. Yeah, it's a bit easier with a smaller brush for these details. And I'm doing the same. I'm going in very loosely. Not perfect, keeping some white spots here and there. And I don't mind if I paint outside the lines. I'm going to cut out these images later and then place them on a greeting card. You can jump over to the blog. There's a link in the description, and have a look at the cards that I've made with these flowers. I really like to mix the greens up a bit so not everything looks like the same blue or same green. I'm going to make kind of a bluish green here for the really tiny ones. Even for these tiny ones, I'm not going to pick the smallest brush because I really like that not so detailed feeling. once this first flower is dry, I want to make it a bit more vibrant and intense, and I'm just adding another layer. I'm going in with the smaller brush. Of course, I could have used the bigger one. I just add another layer with some darker pink, and then I go in with a bit of water to blend the edges. That gives it even a little bit more dimension if needed. So yeah, I think I'm happy with this. I really like these brushes. They are cute. They are nice in size. The quality looks really good to me. Yeah, Christmas is coming soon, so maybe you have an artist that you can give those brushes to, or you maybe make yourself a little gift. Check out my link in the description. I hope you enjoyed that little extra video today, and I hope we will see you soon. Bye.